Being a hero in My Hero Academia is not the same as being a hero in most other conventional narratives. Generally, a hero must be brave and kind, acting in service of others rather than for personal gain. This notion of a hero is a label that people aspire to, but in the world of My Hero Academia, it's a structural position that needs to be filled. This creates two sides of the term: the more traditional idea of a heroic person, and the profession. In this society, a hero is the same thing as a teacher, a police officer, a doctor. It's a job, albeit on a more grandiose scale. One does not need to always act heroically to be classified as a hero, because that term had been bastardized by the societal shift over the course of multiple generations. The perfect example of this warped terminology is Endeavor. This man strong-armed a woman into marriage for the sake of producing an incredible quirk and objectified his offspring based on an arbitrary strength value. He is rotten to the core, the antithesis of what a hero should be. Nevertheless, he is a hero in this world, a hero second only to All Might. You could argue that someone as reprehensible as Endeavor shouldn't be a hero in the first place, and that's the point. His character helps to define one of the most compelling aspects of My Hero Academia moving forward, that being the deconstruction of its premise. This fantasy concept was grounded in a realistic setting from the outset, but Season 2 has started digging into the implications of such a world. How would society function if most people had superpowers? How would quirks shape the individual? What sort of moral dilemmas would be created? The narrative uses these questions to explore things like discrimination, lineage, and conformity, but it also highlights the flaws this kind of civilization would create. Enter hero killer Stain.
何を成し遂げるにも信念、思いがいる。多すぎるんだよ。英雄気取りの背筋主義者がヒーローを歪ませる社会の癌だ。
Stain made shit happen. He crippled Ida's brother, broke Ida mentally, participated in my favorite fight in the series thus far, and challenged the notion of what being a hero in this world actually means. His impact was staggering, especially when you consider that he only had the spotlight for about 3 episodes. In a society overgrown with heroes where the word itself has lost its true meaning, Stain vows to purge the selfish, greedy imposters who mock the term hero. We first learn of him through Ida's older brother Tensei, and there's a good reason for this.
確かに祖父両親がヒーローで、世間じゃ俺がヒーローやってるのも当然みたいに言われるからな。
Though he enjoys helping others where he can, Tensei didn't aspire to be a hero like Izuku or Todoroki. He felt obligated to do so. When Ida commends his work, Tensei jokingly assumes that his brother's admiration must mean that he's an amazing hero. That's not good enough for Stain, however. Stain strictly abides by the traditional definition of a hero, someone who accomplishes great deeds for the good of others rather than himself. He isn't completely merciless, though. When Ida first attempts to attack him, Stain tells Ida to go away. He doesn't consider Ida a target because he's just a child, but Stain assures him that he isn't above killing children if the situation calls for it. When he understands that Ida's primary concern wasn't to save anyone, Stain attempts to kill him. Before doing so, however, he first attempts to educate Ida.
目先の憎しみにとらわれ私欲を満たそうなど、ヒーローから最も遠い行いだ。
What could be seen as Stain toying with Ida was actually him testing Ida's true motives. In episode 28, Stain remarked that people show their true colors when they're on the verge of death. And sure enough, Ida stood by his resolve to kill. In the fight that follows, Stain's moral ambiguity serves to handicap him against Izuku and Todoroki. When Izuku first comes to Ida's aid, Ida tells him, "This has nothing to do with you." Izuku's response, "Meddling when you don't need to is the essence of being a hero," catches Stain's attention. He realizes that Izuku isn't all talk like the other heroes he has killed, which makes Izuku worth sparing. As if that wasn't enough, Stain goes out of his way to save Izuku when Nomu attempts to kidnap him. Pure heroes, or at least people with potential, like Izuku, fit perfectly into Stain's ideal world. The same can be said for All Might, which is why Stain refused to be killed by anyone other than this true hero. His line of thinking directly contrasts that of the show's other prominent antagonist, Shigaraki. Stain and Shigaraki share the same immediate goal of destroying the present, but their ultimate plans oppose one another. While Stain seeks to improve society by drawing attention to its flaws, Shigaraki wastes his potential on aimless destruction. Stain hates Shigaraki because he waves his power around idly, and it's this conflict that stresses the nuances of Stain's character. Though he is labeled as the hero killer, that isn't his only objective. His animosity towards Shigaraki shows that he will also kill villains who taint his ideal vision. And while that motivation is reasonable, if not somewhat noble even, it's that limited mindset and the way in which he executes that vision that clearly define him as a villain. His motivations are driven by his own perspective, a flawed perspective. He's not a cookie-cutter bad guy who is evil for the sake of it like Shigaraki, but he is a killer nonetheless. Even if the narrative fleshes out his respectable traits, he isn't portrayed as a hero. Remember that comment Stain made in episode 28? Let's consider some of his final statements. By using the words "take back," he acts like he owns the true definition of a hero. Like he's the hero who must rise above society to save it. Not only is he arrogant, but he's aggressive and narrow-minded. His only method to carry out his philosophy is to purge the filth, to kill. When Ida stands to fight alongside Izuku and Todoroki, Stain says that Ida will never be anything but a fake who prioritizes his own selfish desires. He doesn't believe that people can change, certainly not in a short time span, and he's not entirely wrong. Ida doesn't fight back to save his friends, he fights to defend Inganium's honor. Once the fight is over, however, Ida apologizes for endangering his friends and regrets his selfishness. He hasn't changed yet, but he's going to try. Stain's impact on the series will ultimately go well beyond his own actions, for better or for worse. News of this event focuses mostly on the hero killer's defeat, while the Nomus become an afterthought. In the big picture, however, Shigaraki's bold assertion isn't off base. Stain may have the spotlight now, but because he has it, that draws attention to the League of Villains. People who align with Stain's ideology will flock to the League under the assumption that they share the same beliefs. His charisma alone will motivate others to jump on the bandwagon like it's the next hot meme. This adds a tragic dichotomy to Stain's legacy. On one hand, his mindset will have a stronger influence as more villains group up to act upon it. But on the other, he ends up promoting a faction that he utterly despises. Stain assumed that cooperating with the League in this instance would allow him to produce quicker results. And he was right. After all, a single Stain supporter would be easy to suppress, but a group of Stain followers will not be so easily disabled. Because he wasn't able to dispose of Shigaraki like he had planned, however, his end goal was lost. His philosophy will be obscured and misrepresented, and it all comes down to his own mistakes. As for the boys, this warped society doesn't reward their actions, it condemns them. Because these three are not certified heroes, and use their quirks of their own accord, they broke the rules. To clarify, in this world full of superheroes, a person can be punished for acting heroically. When you look at things that way, it's no wonder Stain rebelled. The majority of this world's heroes have lost sight of what being a hero actually represents. And that's where Izuku comes in. While other characters strive for the financial success or fame that comes attached to the position, Izuku wants to help others first and foremost. His own well-being doesn't even take priority, as his attempts to save Bakugo and All Might, as well as his fight with Todoroki, can attest to. For Izuku, being a hero isn't just a fancy career he can pencil into the future plans section of a school yearbook. Izuku wants to help people. He wants to inspire others, and foster hope in the same way that All Might fostered hope in him. Izuku doesn't just want to be a working hero, he wants to be a true hero. Special thanks to my true heroes, King Kevin 30, Micah Dunn, Stone Cold 0007, and everyone else who supports me on Patreon. That was cheesy, I know, but this is what happens when I forget to script the outro. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my last video about My Hero Academia, where I broke down the Stain versus UA students fight, and if you're interested, you can follow me on Twitter at MathWiz97x. Until next time, keep on YouTubing.